My friend was telling me normally how they do it is after work around like 5 or 6, they go home, have dinner, and sleep. And then they go to party at midnight, and then they party until like 7 a.m. and they go straight to work.
How can they do that?
And they can still perform. I'm like,
wow,
I'm too old for that.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our second episode. So the first episode we talk about the most recommended locations that you have to see in Chile because of time limitations. So we summarize all the best recommendation from Phoebe, and if you haven't seen that video, feel free to click the link here. Today's
we're gonna give you 10 things you have to know before traveling to Chile.
Yeah, and also these tips that you can barely find them online.
You cannot find them.
Tip number one.
Tip number one. So this is something that I personally had no idea about before I started traveling in Chile, which is booking your flight ticket. They actually have different prices for local citizens versus foreigners. I think there are only like 2 or 3 airplane companies in Chile itself. So if you enter their website using English, then they're gonna have a higher price. Locals, of course, they wouldn't
use English.
Yeah, enter a website in English. So, and then even when you check out your ticket, they will ask you, are you
a citizen
of Chile?
Do they ask you to provide your ID or something?
They said that they will check your ID, but they never did.
Oh.
So I actually asked my coworkers in Chile, and they're like, yeah, just use Spanish website and then book through the Spanish website, and you can just they don't ever check your identification at the gate, but which they say that they would, but they never do. So I kind of have 2 websites like side by side,
so you kind of know where to click.
Yeah,
right?
And plus there's like Google Translate. You know, you can always translate the website. Very simple.
So tip number 1 about the ticket booking, about the price differences. Then you can have 2 pages, 1 Spanish and 1 English, side by side.
And the price can be like very different too.
That's so
weird. Like
weird.
for local, it can be just half of the price that foreigner pays.
Okay, so say if after I fly there, and what about the local transportation?
For transportation, I personally definitely recommend you to rent a car. It's actually really easy. Like, to my surprise, it's very easy to rent a car.
What about the price?
I think the price is pretty similar to the States. I mean, keep in mind, like States, it's one of the places that's like most expensive when it comes to travel. For rental car and for hotels. It's actually really easy to drive a car there too, because the rule is kind of similar. They drive on the same side.
Okay, so if you want to have a flexible schedule, then renting a car, since it's affordable, it's easy, then why not?
Yeah, exactly. And then if you don't feel comfortable driving, then there are plenty tours and plenty different sorts of transportation you can book online. When I travel to places that I know that I might lose my cell signal, I always download my Google map in advance to make sure I have an offline map that I can follow through.
So you can have a peace of mind in case you lose your reception, you can still go back. Okay, what about the hotel?
Yeah, I think it depends on different places. I definitely would want to look into hostels especially if you travel on a budget, because the hostels in South America are actually like really cool. Like because there are a lot of backpackers from all over the world. They have very good tours within the hostels and that they offer. They love to bring people together, so they actually plan a lot of activities for
people to
the guests that stay on the property. So you get to meet a lot of people from all over the world, and for really cheap price staying there, and you also get like access to the information to the tours and stuff.
I see.
So I think people just have a very different opinion or different value when it comes to hostels, because it sounds like budget travel, but like not everybody who stay at hostel cannot afford staying in the hotel. They just
want to experience.
Yeah, they just want
company.
Especially when you travel by yourself. You know, like it's not about staying at a luxury place. It's about like experience the local culture, meeting people, and having a great time.
Now, what about the tours that you just mentioned? The tour.
To my surprise, there are actually like a lot of very well organized tours in Chile that you can access to, most of them online. Even for like places that's not so well known, like Marble Cave that I mentioned from last episode. I mean, they have very limited information online, but they always leave their contact information online, so I always recommend to reach out to them. And they use WhatsApp to communicate. And the smart thing about that is, even though they don't speak English, through WhatsApp they always like translate using Google Translate. And then so you can always like talk to them and ask them for any questions you have, and actually like
smart.
Yeah, to also feel secure about, you know, what you got yourself into, because you know, especially for like Marble Cave is just not so well known place. It's very small, and they already don't have that much information online in English. So to be able to talk to that person ahead of the time before you get there and understand what they're offering you,
you
it's
know what
really
to expect.
Helpful. Yeah, and especially like if you're traveling to a place you've never been in a foreign country, it's always nice to have some contact and you can ask them. And if you can't find them or something, they can always like text them right away.
I see. So speaking of the language, you mentioned that, you know, you can translate. So you mentioned in last video that as long as you have your Google translation with you, pretty much you can go anywhere, right?
Exactly. And honestly, when I first got to Chile, I was a little frustrated because everybody speaks Spanish and nobody really speaks English, or even, I mean, like actually a lot of them understand, but they just won't like speak Spanish, I mean English back to you. Yeah, but like a lot of restaurants we went to, they always have like, you know, some menu in front of the restaurant you can look at before you get into the restaurant.
Is it English?
In Spanish, sorry, in Spanish. Most of the time we would ask them like, oh, hey, do you have an English menu? They're like, oh,
no, they say no?
No. And they wouldn't even,
they don't want to help.
Try to, you know, have you sit down at their restaurant.
I don't get it, why?
Which is kind of frustrating at first, but then later on we figure out we just have to like go along with it and then use Google Translate. And then this feature on Google Translate, it face your camera under and
hover it over?
Yeah, hover over. That's and they will so instantly translate everything to English.
So then that won't be a problem then.
It's not. And then when we order the food, there's a feature on Google Translate that you can start a conversation. So basically it will instantly translate talk. Yeah, I think it's conversational.
I think I heard of it before. So that's how people, when they talk to other people, they just do that, and then it's instant like an interpreter. That's so cool.
So it's conversation, so it doesn't really have too much of time lag.
Make sure you utilize that feature. It will be so helpful.
It's free.
Yeah. What about the local food that you ate?
So as much as we have explored, both me and my other coworker, we both like Peruvian food.
Peruvian food, and the chow fan is
and then the Argentina, they have, because they're so close to Argentina, so they have a lot of Argentinian food. Argentinian food is more a lot of like meat focused, so there's a lot of steak, really good steak and really good lamb.
What about people who don't eat meat? You know, now a lot of people are vegetarian and vegan.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I was in Santiago, there are a lot of these vegetarian friendly places.
Like what?
Just like, you know, avocado toast.
Oh, they have those?
Yeah, it's like, actually like those restaurants really reminded me of California. Because, I mean, the style, like the restaurant, the interior design, and, like the food, and it's just like California, and even the price. It's not cheap.
That is so weird.
And then just one tip. So when you sit down at the restaurant, they will ask you agua singas or agua congas. Yeah, meaning ask you, do you want still water or sparkling water? Agua singas is still water. And agua congas is sparkling water. Very expensive because they all like use this glass bottle to store those
fancy water.
So
how much does it cost?
It's like €3 to €5. I mean, we didn't know until one time we went to lunch with a local person and they ordered some other name of water, and then like they served tap water in the glass. I was like, that's that's something we wanted to order for this entire time. But
that's
we didn't
the free
know.
water.
Yeah, that's the free water. But then I still don't know the name of it.
But you can say tap water,
tap
right?
water.
I see.
Make sure you try the local wine. It's so cheap and so delicious.
Really?
Yeah, it's like for a bottle, it's like $4. You can get a really nice bottle of wine. I personally love cherries, and the first time when I got to the hotel and had breakfast, I was so surprised to find
they have cherries
at breakfast buffet. Can you believe that? Like, I've never seen
Wait,
that.
is it a local fruit? Seasonal fruit there?
Yeah. So, like, it's all you can eat cherries. And it was really good.
My sister would be so happy.
Oh
she
my
loves
gosh,
cherries.
it's my favorite. So, like, I always like get something to go.
Such a luxury.
Yeah, it's so good. I was so happy.
Are there cherries similar to California cherries?
Yeah, very sweet. Yeah. And very cheap if you just buy them.
Wow.
So they have this thing called After Office Wednesday.
After Office Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's everywhere in Chile, but in Santiago, they have this thing and where they turn this parking garage into like a dancing club, which is really cool. My friend was telling me normally how they do it is after work around like 5 or 6, they go home, have dinner, and sleep. And then they go to party at midnight, and then they party until like 7 a.m. and they go straight to work.
How can they do that?
And they can still perform. I'm like,
wow,
I'm too old for that. That's very common in Argentina. But Chile, like my friend had definitely like a few times when I went out with them, I can only stay up until like midnight. But they like can go on and on. They can go till like 5 a.m. They can still go to work.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, if you're planning to shop in Chile, I do not recommend it because, for example, for Zara and H&M, which is a very common brand, it's actually more expensive than the US. States. Yeah, I mean, and also like because the season is completely different from US, so usually the stuff we get, they will get a season later.
I see.
Which means like things we have on sale is all new.
And higher price.
It's all new in Chile. Yeah, and it's also more expensive.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So maybe don't shop there, just bring your clothes and party there. How should I pack?
Yeah, so when I started traveling in Chile around March, I traveled to North Chile, which is like really hot during summertime. At the end of March, I traveled to south of Chile, which is like really cold. And then like it was like all freezing, I had to bring winter clothes. So basically, because you know Chile is like such a long coast across country. A lot of
altitude.
Yeah, altitudes, and so the weather like can be dramatically different. So you have to prepare all sorts of clothes if you were planning to go to multiple locations.
So keep that in mind to pack your both summer and maybe winter clothes.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
That's
it's
crazy.
really cold.
Okay, good tip. Yeah. So I know one big question that people always ask if it's a safe place to travel. You know, no matter if I go with a group of people or just by myself. So would you say Chile is a safe place to go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, maybe because I knew very few things about Chile, I didn't have any expectations. To me, it's a lot easier to travel there because I didn't have all that concerns. Like Chile is pretty safe to travel in my opinion.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just think like you just gotta take the risk and take the chance. Don't scare yourself. Get out of your comfort zone if you want to travel. And I think you can always make things work, even you have limited time, limited budget.
If you want to.
Yeah,
right?
if you want to, I think there's always a way.
I hope you guys learn a lot of new things if you are planning your Chile trip. So feel free to leave your comment or what other topics you are interested to see. So let us know and we will make it happen for you.
Yeah.
And thank
you
for coming and sharing so much cool stories. And thank you guys. Bye.